Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Ross Johnston. Vols basketball picked up a win last night over the North Florida Ospreys, 99-66. JP Estrella led all scorers with 23 points off the bench and also had 10 boards. Transfer guard Jacoby Gillespie tallied 21 points as well and dropped 7 assists. And the freshman phenom Nate Ament put up 19 points to go along with 9 rebounds and 5 assists. Tennessee will face Rice in their next game on Monday at home. In NFL news, Rams head coach Sean McVay told reporters yesterday that he does expect wide receiver Davante Adams to play on Sunday, as Adams suffered an oblique injury last week versus the 49ers. Also, the Washington Commanders have activated the 21-day practice window for defensive end Drake Jackson to return from IR. Week 11 in the NFL kicks off tonight with Thursday Night Football featuring an AFC East battle between the New England Patriots and the New York Jets in Foxborough. You can listen to Westwood One's coverage of the game right here on The Zone starting at 7 p.m. For all your foundation repair, waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans of Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door and broadcasting live from the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports in Kentucky Downs. And speaking of Kentucky, we're going to be talking about the SEC. They got a big game coming up in this weekend, and I do kind of wonder, the line's not out yet, at least according to ESPN Bet. I do kind of wonder.
No, because you're paying attention because you're a college bet. Huh?
Yep. Tennessee Tech 10-0, Kentucky 4-5. And listen, I know it's up there. Kentucky obviously is an SEC school. Tennessee Tech, offensive powerhouse. They've been averaging like over 40 points a game. I just wonder if they can keep it close. And then how close? That's why I'm very interested in the spread, because I do think that there's a potential to cover, but we don't know what the spread is yet.
Oh, we don't?
No.
Oh, I think they're in
They're waiting to calculate, I guess.
Yeah.
It's the only game up here.
But do you think they can win?
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them necessarily. Like, it's like one of those things where there's a chance, but very improbable. Like, there's a chance Tennessee Titans could go 5-4 down the stretch, or however many games. They could win 5 games down the stretch. It's just very improbable. There's a chance that Tennessee Tech could win. I just feel it's very improbable because like a 1% chance. Because Kentucky, it's in Kentucky, and it's an afternoon game, so it's got the mystique of the night game over there at Kentucky, but Tennessee Tech has played really well. I think
they're
in
first place, Tennessee Tech. I haven't paid attention. I haven't watched. I don't know what kind of offense they put up all those points. I don't know what they even run. But what I would say is that just the talent level is such a big gap. It's really hard. And what I'm going to say this is they're in the FCS. That's below like MTSU.
Yeah.
Like, so I just know eventually, whatever the spread may be, I still have to go with Kentucky without even watching either of the teams at this point in time. Even though like a MAC school would compete, well, that FCS is not even a MAC level type team.
Yeah.
Like MAC players, there's guys getting drafted.
Typically.
No, listen. Yeah. There are guys getting drafted from the MAC. I was one of them, but there's gone on and been more and more, right?
Right.
There are hardly any guys getting drafted from Tennessee Tech or FCS. Now, there are exceptions, obviously, but, I mean, there's a big gap there. And so whatever offense they're running, let's say they run the spread, they can just say, you get that guy, you get that, you get that guy. And guess what? There's probably going to be one of the guys from Tennessee Tech that probably can say, hey, I can match up pretty good. There's always one guy. So I just feel like I don't think they can beat them unless Kentucky just doesn't show up and are ready to give up for their coach.
Yeah, that's why I find it very improbable, because it's almost like when people say, could the best college team beat the worst NFL team?
Yeah, that would never happen.
That kind of feels like this situation, right? Like, I mean, it shouldn't happen. It is Kentucky, though.
It is a 1% chance.
And it is a guy. It is. I know it's FCS. It is a 10-0 team versus a 4-5 team. But again, it's FCS versus SEC. There should be no contest. If I'll say this, I think there's a chance, depending on how large the spread is, they could cover it.
Oh yeah.
But if Mark Stoops loses this game, it is over.
Oh yeah,
it is over. It may be over anyway, but it is for sure over. I mean, that would be an insane thing. Someone said that they're pretty sure that the spread, Captain Tony in the F&M Bank chat, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live, says, I'm pretty sure the spread open at 22.5. I'd be almost tempted to take that.
Caller just said 21 to me on the phone, so somewhere in that range.
I would be tempted to say that. I mean, because they do have an offense, but like to your point, and your whole point of this is that like, there's no reason that Kentucky shouldn't really decisively win this game.
Yeah, and to your point, you said MAC schools kind of compete with Kentucky. Usually every year when they play them, they only beat them by maybe, let's say, 14 points or something.
Yeah.
It's still, good game to watch. He's like, dang, man. I mean, so it could be something like that. So, yeah, but I still think Kentucky would win. You brought up a point about, the worst NFL team versus.
I love that.
Yeah,
debate.
I love this. So I asked your boy Chance Womack this question because everybody kept saying, I kept on saying that would never happen. And he said there's no way in heck that would ever happen.
Yeah.
And they won the national championship that year. So they were the best team. He was a rookie. He said that just can't happen. He said the guys in the NFL are just so much bigger and faster, is just a total different level of a player. And he just says, people are saying that. He says, now, I could say maybe we could hang with a team. At that time, it was the Browns who were 0-16. He said, we may could hang with them for maybe a half and be in the game. But he said, to beat them, like, nah.
Even Chance Womack was, I guess over a decade ago now.
Yeah, it's been a
crazy,
while, but I just remember that
conversation. But even, with how athletes in the college ranks right now are even more athletic than they were just 10 years ago, I just don't think there's any way you can. I think the coaches could hang. I just don't think the players could hang. It's a different kind of physicality, different level of players, and I think that's the problem.
You can talk about that all the time,
but
the level still continues to grow, but the gap is still the same.
The gap is the same.
Right. It's not going to change. So I could go back to 1990. It didn't matter. The gap is still going to be the same from an NFL team to a college team. It's because
like the Titans versus the Ohio State. I guess you guys say Ohio State's probably the best team in the nation?
Well, at least over the last couple of years.
Oh, we're probably winning by 30.
The Tennessee Titans.
Oh, I would think.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, wouldn't you think?
Nah, I'm not going to go that far.
I mean, not 30, but 30 like points? You would.
Watch this. They haven't even scored for. I don't know about 30 points, but I think they would win.
Yeah.
Like, even when the Browns were horrible, I would say they would win, but I'm not saying they're going to beat them by 30 points.
Yeah, gotcha.
Like, I would say that they're going to beat them, probably 14 to, 28 points. Like, they're going to beat them. The competitive nature of guys, especially at elite programs, especially if they got, handful of first-round type player picks, they will be able to compete. But to beat them, you have to have that all over the place. I'm not going to say any of those teams can't compete with them, but, man, I don't know. 30 points is a lot.
No, you know what? You're right. We wouldn't beat them by 30 because Jeremiah Smith would be.
Yeah, Jeremiah Smith versus Jalen Armour Davis right now. I mean, I was like, start thinking about it. Yeah, Baker versus Carnell Tate. It would have to be Big Jeff would need to be. I can't believe we're talking about this, but it'd have to be Big Jeff would need to be healthy and just wreck that Ohio State offensive line, which could happen.
He would,
and then that's the point, right? Like Tavondre Sweat, Jeffrey Simmons, Sebastian Joseph Day versus a college offensive line can help you with those other guys. Can get Julian Sayin flustered, who is still a freshman, who is still having a tremendous year, but like at the same time. Those offensive linemen would get their lunch.
That's where I think the big discrepancy is when you talk about the levels of, like, with Kentucky and Tennessee Tech, FCS, FBS. You'd be surprised, and Blaine, you might agree with me. Like, I don't think the athlete from FCS to FBS is that different. You got some freak athletes for sure, but I think the main difference is the trenches. Yeah. Like, you got guys on the outside that can play, just like guys at the FBS level, but those guys are probably a little taller. Maybe a little better measurables, but the trenches is where it really separates.
And sometimes coaching, right? Because I think I can't remember, was it the Kent State or East Tennessee State game from last year? You talked about how those defensive backs weren't using the sideline on the lesser school against University of Tennessee.
Right, yeah.
I can't remember the game, but like you were talking about that, and sometimes that's coaching, right? Yeah. And sometimes that's the player,
2 years ago, Austin Peay and what that defensive scheme they had versus Tennessee was a 3-3.
Yeah.
Something, I don't know what, but it was very effective, at least for a little while, and then eventually they broke. But yeah, so they'll be able to compete, but to beat them, it's like they got to have a lot of things go their way. With some turnovers, and it just that's a tough one there, man. Just think, Kentucky can play as conservative as they want to, and just say we're going to run the football and we're not going to throw the ball, but on third down. That's to make sure that they don't lose, and they still would probably beat them.
Yeah, as long as your defense can contain whatever this offense is supposed to look like against these other FCS schools that plays. If you're
give up any big plays.
Yeah. I mean, just bleed the clock pretty much. It may be an ugly game, but at least you won the game.
That's how I feel like Kentucky plays against the MAC schools, these FCS. I mean, watch this. What was the score of Kentucky, Tennessee?
It was closer than expected, right? It was a high-scoring game.
Right. Uh-huh.
But they've also had close games with, like, who they played in the MAC earlier this year? Toledo, I think.
Toledo or
somebody?
Central Michigan. It was one of those MAC teams. They put them on the schedule every time, and they not barely, but they beat them like by 14. It was somewhat of a close game considering the talent level.
It was Toledo. They won by 8 points.
See?
But that was the home that was the opener
opening game.
They lost
opening game.
56-34 to Tennessee. That was the score of that game.
56-34.
They
Maybe
beat Auburn 10-3, and I think we would consider Auburn and both Auburn and Florida better than Tennessee Tech, right? Yeah. So like Auburn, they won 10-3. Florida, they won 38-7, and now you got Tennessee Tech coming into town. So you
just never know if they're sleepwalking, and the staff for Kentucky didn't kind of like game plan to play them all the way through and take them seriously. It could roast this.
Dixie brings up another good point in the chat about our college versus pros.
Yeah.
What kind of field are you playing on? Because hash marks would be the biggest difference why college teams couldn't hang with the NFL because of the field.
I was assuming we're playing on the NFL.
Yeah. Well, so that would be an extra layer, an extra advantage for those NFL teams.
Point.
So NFL dudes playing college kids, they're not losing that game. They ain't let that happen. Blaine would take somebody's head off.
I don't know about that, man. I'd get fined, man.
But I just thought it was an interesting discussion, and we'll have more interesting discussions coming up here shortly because we'll be joined by Chris Phillips. But, last week, Texas A&M, 9-0, 6-0 in the SEC with a big win over Missouri, who's really not a slouch in a SEC team. Then you had LSU bench Garrett Nussmeier against Alabama, and Alabama won 20-9.
New coach, though, right?
New coach. Yeah.
It's kind of like
new coach, same story.
Yeah, that's what the trend is always. That's how my man Winston getting to start now.
Yeah.
James Winston. I can't wait.
Georgia pretty much creamed Mississippi State 41-21.
Whoa.
What?
Interesting verb there.
Oh, they creamed them.
Okay.
Ole Miss creamed Citadel 49-0. But Vanderbilt versus Auburn, 45-38 in overtime. What a game by Vanderbilt where they came back and won. And listen, Auburn is no slouch. And because of their defense, and for Vanderbilt to be able to put up 45 points against that Auburn defense is pretty impressive. And I'm still a little miffed that they're not at least like right at the bottom of the bracket. Understand there's only so many more teams, but Vanderbilt's on a tear right now. I mean, like they're the most dangerous team in the SEC and the most dangerous team that would enter in the college tournament. I'm just convinced of that.
Yeah, you do not want to play them. So I'm sure a lot of teams who know they're already in do not want to be playing them, and they're still on the table. So the kicker is if they run the table and they finish 10-2.
Yeah.
Does brand bias come into play? See, that is what may hold back, the committee and everything else. And they are much deserving if they run the table.
Is Diego Pavia a big enough brand to overcome that? Like the player himself to overcome? Like maybe you would want Diego Pavia in there. Probably not because of Texas, who you lost to, is probably going to be in the college football playoffs with how their schedule's looking up. Big game this weekend. But just be an interesting... It's going to suck if Vanderbilt does not get in this year because I don't know how Vanderbilt's going to look post Diego Pavia and all that kind of stuff.
So you think the committee's looking at if Diego could be in it?
I don't know.
We started talking about.
Well, I don't know
beings.
what. Listen, to be honest,
Where instead
this
of the
committee, I
brand-
don't know really what they're
Well,
looking
they
at.
got two new people. I think
Yeah.
there's so many other people.
But, hey,
And other people dropping out.
Counterpoint to that, though, could be: are there enough teams from other big conferences to make the play? Like, is the ACC going to get more than one team? Is the Big 12 going to
Yeah,
get more than one
that
team?
would be a good point to make.
I think it's going to be a very SEC heavy playoff.
I mean, Vanderbilt's next games are Kentucky, because they're off this week, or Kentucky, then Tennessee.
Yeah, that's it.
That's two very winnable games.
In Knoxville.
Right. And will Tennessee have lost to Florida? Because if Tennessee beats New Mexico and beats Florida, they'll still be ranked. But if they lose to Florida, because right now they're number 23, they may drop out of the top 25. So resume-wise, how does that look if Vanderbilt were to go in there and beat them?
When was the last time they beat Florida?
Tennessee?
They haven't in the Swamp, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's
Gotcha.
Because they're in the Swamp.
Away, yeah.
Yeah, on away.
Because they beat them, when Richardson was a
Yeah,
quarterback at home.
Yeah.
They beat them in Knoxville last
Yeah.
year, too, I think. They won to overtime, but held on.
But not in the Swamp? Ooh, you think it's that?
There's a
that
little
matters even
mystique
still
there.
This
Little
year?
mystique.
Maybe it does.
Never know. You better win in the Swamp this year if you're Tennessee. That's for sure.
Yeah,
This is your
I'm
best.
thinking that's a gimme.
Yeah, your
Hey,
best
but
chance.
For Vanderbilt, though, y'all need to look at these numbers Pavu's been putting up the last,
These last 2 weeks,
He's
yeah, it's
been outstanding.
phenomenal.
Yeah. He's really kind of made a late push for that Heisman. I don't think he's going to win it, but maybe gets invited to New York. We'll see. We'll see how the last 2
Don't
weeks
you have
play
to be in the
out.
top three?
Top four?
Top four.
Top four?
Yeah.
If they go 10-2 and he keeps putting up numbers, I think
Yeah.
he'll go to New York.
Because you got to have the numbers to go with the wins and all that kind of
Right,
stuff.
right.
And that's where he's kind of struggled a little bit this year. He's won games, have been the reason they won games. He hasn't put up the numbers. All right, coming up next, we'll go around the SEC with Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
There are a lot of things Americans split on 50-50. Politics, working from home versus the office, coffee versus tea. But there's one thing we all agree on. Hey, it's Blaine Bishop, yes. And taking your car in for repairs can be complicated. That is what we all agree on. And your repair is only as good as the person under the hood. And most of the problems in fixing your vehicle is knowledge issue, not someone trying to rip you off. And I know I always think that, right? A lot of the techs are not properly trained, so they end up guessing what to do. That causes delays in getting your vehicle back or repeat visits, the same issue over and over again, which is so frustrating. For around a quarter century, Eurofix has done things differently. Every visit starts with a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection, so you know what's going on before we start the work. And Eurofix pays its technicians more than any other company does to attract the best and the brightest talent around. And Eurofix still fixes European vehicles at below dealer pricing with a 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all work Eurofix performs. And rental cars are available if needed. Locally owned, family run with 5 locations. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. We'll be joined by Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered here in just a moment.
Someone was just telling me that Texas still plays Georgia and A&M, and so does that then hurt Vandy, let alone if some of the other conferences, Yeah,
I mean, if
get one or two teams in.
It really depends. If Texas loses to Georgia, they'll still be ranked.
Mm-hmm.
But probably Vanderbilt will be ranked higher at that point, because right now Texas is ranked higher than Vanderbilt. So maybe Vanderbilt would jump them. Texas beat Vanderbilt head-to-head. But Vanderbilt would have the better record in the view of the college football playoff rankings.
Right. Okay. Huh.
All right, let's go to Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered, and we'll start with that game, Chris. Texas at Georgia. Is this arguably the biggest game of the year in the SEC?
I think it certainly could be, guys. And first things first, I really appreciate you having me on. It's always a pleasure. But, yeah, I mean, you think about playoff implications. Obviously, Georgia's trying to punch a ticket to Atlanta in the college football playoff. And, Texas, I think they're trying to get in, guys. It's interesting. We had a conversation this week with former Georgia great and former College Game Day host David Pollack. And he mentioned he thinks Texas can get in the college football playoff with 3 losses. So they don't have to beat both Georgia and Texas A&M. They just need to win one of them. Now, whether you agree or disagree, at least makes for compelling conversation. But, yeah, this is the game of the weekend. I mean, I think certainly even if it's not the game of the year, it's one of the games of the year. So, going to be a great one. Again, I think Texas has got a shot. I took them plus 6.5. I think it's a close ball game, but it's hard not to trust Kirby Smart at home against this team, again, that they beat twice last year.
With Texas, I mean, we've seen Arch Manning incrementally play better and better. What has been has he been the catalyst for Texas's success, or is this more the defense? He's playing just enough for the defense to handle the rest.
I think it's more the offensive line. The guys, they're running the football effectively, right? I mean, that was the thing. I saw them in Gainesville, obviously, a month or so ago, and, he was sacked 6 times, right? They couldn't protect him. They couldn't run the football. There was no semblance of balance, and you put it all on Arch Manning's shoulders, who, still a young quarterback, still somewhat inexperienced, and, you saw the results. So I think they're able to run the football a lot better. Trey Wisner has been a lot better. We never questioned Arch Manning's ability, but he just had no help around him. He's had that the last couple of weeks, and, you see the results. But now it's against Georgia's defense. So that'll be the big challenge for them.
Going back to last week's games real quick, LSU's season continues to get worse. Obviously, going into Alabama is a tough task to pull off a win, but they end up benching Garrett Nussmeier. Is that more because of play, more because of injury, or a little bit of both?
I think it's a little bit of both, and I think that Michael Van Buren just simply gave them a better shot to win the football game. When you look at the offensive line, the ineffectiveness, I mean, Garrett Nussmeier back there, it's like he's got concrete shoes on, if you will. Michael Van Buren's at least a little bit elusive, and against that Bama defense, which was, so good last weekend. So good last weekend, just getting after the quarterback. I think they had to make a change, get a spark, if you will. So Michael Van Buren gave him that shot, and let's call it for what it is. Garrett Nussmeier has just been inconsistent, ineffective, and again, I think when you're on the road in that environment, you've already fired your head coach. You're looking for a spark of any kind. So I thought Michael Van Buren actually gave him that. Garrett Nussmeier is going to be the QB1 this week against Arkansas. Guys, admittedly, I actually like the Hogs to go in there and get the win, pull the upset. But, LSU's got to try to do something they haven't done all season. Score 25 or more points, or score more than 25 points against a Power 4 opponent. I don't think it happens this weekend. And certainly troubles at quarterback are a big reason why.
It's kind of crazy. LSU right now, according to ESPN Bets, only favored by 5.5 points at home versus Arkansas. Like that feels very surreal. It's about the state
Dangerous
of the SEC.
Arkansas team though with Taylor Green. Dangerous Arkansas team. Again, neither of these teams has a head coach, so they've got nothing to lose. I mean, I like the Hogs too. I really do.
There you go. We're going around the SEC with Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered.
Well, Chris, speaking of LSU, man, how much trouble do you think they're going to have? I know they're going to be able to hire a coach, but, man, with all this going on, they may have to overpay for their coach. And who do you think is at the top of the list there at LSU with the way they're handling the Kelly firing or maybe for cause? Kind of take us through what you think of what's going on there.
Yeah, it's interesting, guys. Nothing that's happening is helping the cause for LSU to get the best head coach, right? It's with some of the madness with the Kelly buyout, Jeff Landry, like you mentioned, it's funny. I was telling some guys, like, we laugh about it. We think it's funny. Right. None of my LSU buddies think it's very funny. So that being said, it's still one of the best jobs in college football. The top names I've heard, and again, this is talking to my buddies that cover that beat. Obviously, Lane Kiffin's the number one. I mean, if they could choose anybody, they want Lane Kiffin along with probably 10 or 15 other schools. I don't know how Lane's going to coach them all next year, including Ole Miss, but they prefer Lane. Interestingly enough, the other big names I've heard, Dan Lanning was the one that was thrown around. I think that's cooled off a bit. Jeff Brom from Louisville. I know they're working on a contract extension for him. Eli Drinkwitz at Mizzou. And then really interesting name, guys, Josh Heupel over at Tennessee. That was a name that I've heard is seriously they think they can get him. And, again, don't shoot the messenger here, but I've heard that potentially Josh Heupel would at least entertain the conversation. He's thought about leaving Knoxville. So I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But what I've been told, there's an understanding in the industry that for the right job, Josh Heupel would be willing to leave. So, again, take it for what it's worth.
And I didn't know you were going to say this. So that takes me to, is this the right time, since he is not making the playoffs, Tennessee that is, to then actually put his name in the hat for other jobs at this point where it's still kind of high? Because if he, let's say, loses to Vandy, then all the noise starts going into the next season and it carries on, and then possibly even leaving, which you mentioned in his name.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, it's a lot about timing, right? So if LSU calls you and they offer you the job, when is a job like that going to be available to you again? So, I think that's a big piece of it. I mean, listen, I think Josh Heupel is revered for the job he's done at Tennessee. I say all the time, I don't think he gets the credit he really deserves for what he took over and what he's built. And, I mean, you guys recall where Tennessee football was 5 or 6 years ago. It was in a pretty dark place. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. I think the timing could line up, especially, again, if LSU is calling and seriously offering him that gig. I think it's at least something you got to think about if you're Heupel. So, it was interesting to hear that name. Yeah. I'm not saying, like I said, that he leaves, but, when you think about expectations of Tennessee fans and trying to match those expectations, and listen, they don't want to go 8-4 anymore, but it's hard to get to the playoff every single year like I think most Vols fans want. So it's a little bit easier down in Baton Rouge, and again, that's not a dig on Tennessee at all. I think that's just a fact.
Do you kind of said that he would leave the Tennessee, or would possibly lead the Tennessee job for a better job? Is the LSU a better job than the Tennessee job right now?
I would say it is. I still think just because of the recruiting hotbed that it is, it's a school that recruits itself. I mean, the state of Louisiana produces top talent every single year. I still think at this point, and again, 1998, guys, it was, wasn't forever ago, but wasn't exactly yesterday. LSU's won 3 of them since. So, yeah, I would say right now it's still a little bit of a better job than Tennessee is.
Well, you made me think about this now. Kind of, let's rank the top 5. If all jobs are open in the SEC, where does Tennessee rank?
Of the jobs that are open right now?
No, all jobs.
All jobs.
In the SEC?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think, in the SEC, I mean, it's certainly a top half job. I think you could say it's even a top third of the conference job. It's not a bad job by any stretch. But there's a big 6, I think, in college football, big 5 or 6. Alabama, Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, LSU, and then take your pick of the West Coast schools like an Oregon or a USC or what have you, just because of history, tradition, facilities, NIL, whatever. Tennessee's not in that big 6. And again, it's not a knock, but LSU's just on a different level, man. Notice I didn't mention Florida either. I don't know that the Florida job's as good a job as people really make it out to be. I'm not saying it's a bad job by any stretch, but, I don't think it's as much a no-brainer for a guy like Kiffin to leave Ole Miss to go to Florida. I had a buddy of mine that works in the industry put it really well. If Florida's such a good job, why did the 2 best coaches in their school's history leave before they had to? Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer. Why didn't they end their careers there? If it's such a good job, it's at least something to think about. It's at least something to think about. So I just, some of these jobs out there, and especially too with the NIL era, and, there's different layers of this now. Listen, I could tell you things about Florida behind the scenes you'd be stunned how disorganized they are. You'd be stunned about it. So, there's so many layers to this thing that I think most common fans don't really realize. But again, bottom line is, I think very highly of Tennessee. LSU's a better job, man. It flat out is, because of the resources, because of the recruiting hotbed, because you don't go head to head against anybody in your state. LSU, it's one of the best jobs in college football easily.
And, I don't know where would you put A&M, but do you think they are a national title contender? It seems like they are, but they're still kind of somewhat under the radar, even though they're ranked really high. I don't know why that is. Do you believe that they could win a national title?
I do, and I think a lot of the reason they don't get more love is because it's still there's this battered Aggie syndrome and just a battered picking the Aggie syndrome. Congratulations to all the people that have picked Texas A&M go to the playoff essentially every single year, and they finally got it right. You know what I mean? It's finally going to come to fruition because they're 9-0 with South Carolina, Samford, and Texas, obviously, to end the season. So they're finally going to get that one right, but. No, I think there's just a lot of people that are hesitant on the Aggies still. I just think it's a lot of years of scar tissue of picking them and them not coming through. But, yeah, this team absolutely can win it all. I mean, again, I had a conversation with David Pollack. He believes there's one team in the SEC that can win it all, and it's them. So they're as complete as anybody. I mean, just top to bottom, I think fewest deficiencies in the league. I think you could argue the highest floor in the league. They run it well. Marcel Reed's a freak. They got freaks on the outside. It's a Mike Elko-led defense that they're not elite against the run, but they're still pretty darn good. And, they got dudes on that side of the ball, too. So, again, have they played the toughest schedule in college football? Not necessarily, but I think you'd be crazy not to call them a national title contender.
No doubt about it. I have a couple other questions for you, and that is, I saw Drinkowitz talking about, SEC fans shouldn't think that if your team doesn't make the playoff, then it's a bust, and then naturally all the coach talk and fire the coach and everything else. If you're right on the cusp of the door, kind of like Tennessee, what are your thoughts on him saying playoff or bust is what most fans are thinking when they don't make it in the SEC at least?
I think he's got a valid point because, guys, you think back to, whatever your childhood was as a college football fan or just coming up. You used to be able to have a good season. Hey, we went 9-3 and we went to the Outback Bowl or the Capital One Bowl, or even if we went 10-2 into the Capital One Bowl, we won it, man. We won 11 games that year and we're Capital One Bowl champions. What does that mean now? Is anybody bragging about winning the ReliaQuest Bowl? He's got a point where it's like we've kind of removed. You either have a great season or a bad season. And it's nobody's got sympathy for these coaches. I totally get it. But it really has removed the ability to just have a good season. So, listen, again, with the way they're getting compensated, like I said, nobody's going to feel bad for them. Nobody should feel bad for them. But, yeah, I think he does have a valid point.
And lastly, possibly, is there any scenario 6 teams make the playoffs or no?
I think that's the max. I think there is a scenario where it happens. You need some chaos in front. Notre Dame would need to lose, knock them out. The ACC continue to cannibalize themselves and only get one team in. The Big 12 cannibalize themselves and get one team in. Certainly, though, I think there's certainly a path. What happens if you have Vandy at 10-2, Texas is 9-3, Oklahoma's 10-2? At some point, people can complain about, what if Oregon loses to Washington or USC and they got 2 losses? Do they really deserve to be in? I don't think so. So I think 6 is the max. 5 feels like the right number. 4 feels like the minimum.
There you have it, Chris Phillips, SEC Unfiltered.
All right, Oklahoma and Alabama. Break down that matchup. It's an 11 seed going up against a 4 seed. John Mateer still hasn't looked right since the injury, but this Oklahoma team still finds ways to win. Their only 2 losses being in the SEC. Alabama 20-9 wasn't perfect, but got the job done against LSU. Talk about that matchup.
Yeah, again, if you like car crashes in the trenches, you were in for one. Really, truly, it's it's going to be good on good up front. Both front sevens, excited to watch them. Got to see Alabama obviously firsthand last week, and I think the takeaway from that game and from most Bama fans I talked to was they were kind of glad they got that out of their system a little bit, where it's like, hey, most times we have to learn lessons from defeat, right? That applies to life too. We have to take an L to learn a lesson. It's always a positive when you can learn lessons even after a W, and I think that's what happened last week. They didn't play their best game. It was a little sloppy. Ty Simpson got a little sloppy with the football, turned it over, but, you're able to get the W. So I think they'll bounce back from that. It's the thing that gives me pause is the last time everybody was doubting Oklahoma in a game and nobody was picking them, well, they went to Knoxville and won. So I think to say Oklahoma has no chance is foolish, but I like the Crimson Tide at home. They've been so good, so consistent. I think this is the weekend Ty Simpson gets his Heisman moment, guys, admittedly. But John Mateer and the boys rolling in, certainly have a great chance. I think the key to the game for them, front seven, has got to disrupt Ty Simpson and get the football off of him. That's something not many people have been able to do. Again, he's been so good taking care of it. Showed kind of chinks in the armor last week, but I think you got to really flip that game on its head, turn it over, win a low-scoring game.
When it comes to Vanderbilt, there's a lot of 10-2 teams across the nation. How do you sell Vanderbilt if they end up 10-2 to the College Football Playoff Committee as being one of the last few teams to get into that tournament?
Just look at the resume and who they beat. I think if you go 10-2 in the SEC, you deserve it. I don't think there's any question. Listen, a 10-2 Vanderbilt getting left out of the playoff would be a travesty. And I hope I don't know exactly where the office is, but form a line in Nashville and let's march up there to wherever they are, because it would be pure armed robbery. I don't care what the logo is. They've earned their way, guys. You have 10-2, beat Tennessee into the season. You beat the brakes off a lot of other teams. Miss me with they don't deserve to get in. To me, they win their last two, they're in. It's as simple a conversation as that. This Vanderbilt team I think they're as complete as any as well. Nobody plays their identity more than Clark Lee's team. It's so much more than Diego Pavia, like we've talked about on a weekly basis, essentially. So, yeah, to me, it's not even a conversation. How do I sell Vandy? Hey, they went 10-2 in the SEC. Stop logo watching and actually watch the games.
Well, with that being said, man, should Clark Lee get an ascension already right now? Or what are they waiting on? Because if not, they lose. Or they're waiting to see how they look without Diego?
You better extend him now before somebody else hires him.
Does he look like a fit for Penn State? I'm just saying.
Listen, I don't think he leaves his alma mater.
Right.
But at the same time, like I said, there's once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. When's the next time Penn State's going to be open? And is your stock going to be as high as it is now? That's the question. So, but I just don't see it, man. Again, Clark Lee.
Right.
Clark Lee cut his teeth at Vandy, obviously played there. I think he's building something special, and he knows it, and I think he wants to be a big part of it.
All right, there you go. Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Where's the tailgate at this weekend?
Dude, so we're starting it off big tomorrow. We're actually throwing a big party at the library, which if you've been at Oxford, you know about the library, the biggest and best bar on the square. So we're kicking it off at 5 o'clock. We got a live show, a little meet and greet deal. And believe it or not, the beers are on your boys. So come on out. Let's have a party, and then Saturday we'll just be at the Grove all day getting ready. So it's going to be a great weekend, man. I always love going to Oxford.
Okay, so at the tailgate, do you set up because I've been to the Grove at least once, and they have chandeliers hanging in their tents and stuff. Or do you kind of adapt your tailgate to the home tailgating city?
So we'll bounce around. So we actually don't have a set tailgate right now. Going into next season, that very well could be a reality. But right now, we take the camera mobile. The blog goes everywhere. We bop around, and doesn't take us very long to find the party. So no, we're in good hands this weekend. I got a couple. I'm partnered up with a Rebel tomorrow for the show, and again we're off and running from there. So.
Well, if you need a chandelier, just give me a shout, man. I got one in storage.
You got a few?
I got one in storage.
There you go.
Borrow it.
All right.
It's a chandelier. It's a glass one too, brother.
All right, Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. We appreciate it, Chris. Talk to you next week.
Yeah, man. Sounds good. Appreciate you guys.
All right, bro.
All right. Coming up, we'll wrap up our talk of SEC college football before getting into the Tennessee Titans. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Naturally, this is the holiday season, holiday parties, and man, do I love to eat. But you got to manage your holiday weight, and guess who comes into play? Your best and yours truly, Edge Peptide Therapy, which has an approach to weight loss at Edge with hormone therapy. Is a little bit different. We make sure all patients have extensive lab work and face-to-face conversations in office with our nurse practitioners to create a customized treatment plan tailored to your specific needs. Edge walks you through the process with you guiding your treatment and answering your questions, supporting you along the way because it is a process. Also enjoying the access to their in-body scanner to track weight loss and make sure you are maintaining that muscle mass, as well as lower your A1C, keeping all your cravings in check, especially those chocolate ones that I have. Prioritize your protein and have someone guide your journey from start to finish. So call the team at Edge Peptide for all of your wellness questions at 615, of course, 724-1878. That's 724-1878 or edgepeptide.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. And we just got done going around around the SEC with Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered.
Sounds like someone else might be going around the SEC.
There you go. That's the big question, right? Is like we talked about Josh Heupel a few times, jobs, this and that, his job security and all that. But we're talking about LSU, talking about the attractiveness of the job now that Brian Kelly and the LSU may be headed towards a lawsuit because they feel they could fire him for just cause and all this kind of stuff. And he talks about a few of the coaches that they would be on the top of their list from what he is hearing. Now, mind you, this is what he's hearing. And this is not of his opinion, but stuff that he is hearing from around. And remember, he told you Brian Kelly would be getting fired. Yeah. He told you some of these things were coming down the pipeline, Billy Napier as well. So keep that in mind. But I thought it was interesting. He brings up Lane Kiffin and the 14 other jobs and throws out a few other names. Then he brings up one name that may be of interest to University of Tennessee fans.
And then really interesting name, guys, Josh Heupel over at Tennessee. That was a name that I've heard is seriously, they think they can get him. And again, don't shoot the messenger here, but I've heard that potentially Josh Heupel would at least entertain the conversation. He's thought about leaving Knoxville. So I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But what I've been told, there's an understanding in the industry that for the right job, Josh Heupel would be willing to leave. So again, take it for what it's worth.
I mean, that's a pretty big statement to make. And, it begs the question, I was very surprised. I don't know if I really consider LSU a better job than Tennessee with the current state it's in. It may be the better football program itself when you factor in the history. But that one seems a little crazy. Like, I was a little taken aback and shocked that he kind of it felt like it was a little casual nugget he was throwing in there.
Yeah, that's when I asked about the ranking of the schools. If all jobs are open in the SEC, man, where's Tennessee in there? Is it? He seemed to think it's probably the top 6 jobs.
Yeah, maybe? I think when he was going through his list of top 6 in the nation, it would have made SEC. I think he would have said SEC maybe top 5, top 6.
Yeah.
Because he said Alabama, Georgia, Texas, LSU. And then I would think that Tennessee would be right behind there. But then you got, how attractive or the program of Oklahoma, right? Like, I mean, you got a couple new people in there. But that felt a little bit crazy. Can you play that clip again? I know I'm asking for it again because there was specific wording I want to make sure I get right. Never mind.
We got something first. It's not anything big, but C.J. Stroud is listed as out for the game on Sunday, so the Titans will officially be facing Davis Mills on Sunday.
Plus, you should have taken that plus 7.5 while you had the chance. All right, now go back to play that clip from Chris Phillips again.
And then really interesting name, guys, Josh Heupel over at Tennessee. That was a name that I've heard is seriously, they think they can get him. And again, don't shoot the messenger here, but I've heard that potentially Josh Heupel would at least entertain the conversation. He's thought about leaving Knoxville. So I'm not saying it's going to happen.
So they think they can get him, and then he's entertained the idea of leaving Knoxville. I thought that those are two pretty interesting statements right there. The LSU thinks that they can get him, but he's entertained the idea of possibly leaving Knoxville. I mean,
that's why I asked the question. Yeah. It's because I think it's time to leave now before the snowstorm happens. Yeah, because the people are going to start saying he is the James Franklin of Tennessee, of the SEC.
Because where are we saying James Franklin should go? Maybe Arkansas.
Right. Well, but Virginia Tech, I think he's going to Virginia
Arkansas,
Tech. But I mean, yeah. So I think that he can't win the big one. He can't get him over the hump.
Yeah.
For the big game. And, naturally, they want to be viewed bigger than that. Now, sometimes there's risk involved with that. I mean, you may go to a coach where you may go back a step and then move forward. So do you want that?
Yeah.
And so if I'm hypo and I start hearing this noise, especially if something like they lose to Vandy, like that noise is going to be ratcheted up all off season.
Okay, because most people said 8-4, right? They're 6-3 now. We know the history. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but let's play a little game here. We know the history of the Swamp and what that does to University of Tennessee for whatever reason. You drop that game, you're at 7-4 heading into with a huge game with Vandy, who you're out. They have everything to play for, and you lose that game. That's 7-5, and that's below even the 8-4 expectations everybody had for them, which those expectations changed after the game with Georgia. So now you're really, because this fan base, we know how the fan base is.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if that's how the administration would feel.
Right.
But
Danny White and them.
Right.
Yeah, that's a totally different scenario.
They would be dejected, and there would be people out there saying, hey, we need to move on, because they be that upset.
Yeah.
Do you think the thought at all crosses his mind that he's got the top quarterback coming in and Faison Brandon out of high school? Or do you think that's something he can look at and be like, hey, I can maybe get this guy to come to LSU with me?
Oh, man.
Because you've got the top quarterback
sure.
coming in.
Yeah. Wow. That would, man, if he did that and got.
I definitely would do that if I got fired.
But what I'm saying is, like, if all that happened in one, I don't know how University of Tennessee fans will handle it.
I wouldn't want to see it.
I wouldn't want to see it either. That'd be wild. I mean, that would be like Nick Saban leaving and then taking like Tua with him at Tua's prime or something like that. Like, that would be insane.
But y'all are right. Like, you talked to most Tennessee fans before the season. They were like 8-4, 9-3 if we're lucky. And then that Georgia game happens and you're thinking you should have won. And they're like, well, we're going to the playoffs now. We're like, we got a really strong chance to make the playoffs. And I think a lot of it was tied to Aguilar too. People didn't know he'd be this good. But it's like, he finishes 7-5, even 8-4. Like, I don't know, man.
It's still in these critical games. Aguilar's thrown interceptions and it's cost him.
Yeah.
So they can say what they want. I mean, he's played solid, but I mean, in the big games, one critical bad play kind of, and then the kicker missed the field goal. I mean, there you have it. Boom.
There you go. Because, like I said, the expectations changed, and now they changed back again to, well, we were always, going to want 8-4. Now it could be 7-5, and then you'd be below even your lowest of low expectations.
I think they're going to beat Florida.
I mean, they should. I would bet on University of Tennessee to win.
Don't worry. If Heupel leaves, you can just bring Alex Golish back.
There you go. There it is. All right, coming up next, we're going to switch over to the Tennessee Titans and talk some Tennessee Titans, talk the NFL. We'll talk about the C.J. Stroud news. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Smashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, and Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
One of the largest sports books east of the Mississippi, Circa Sports Kentucky, is now open. Catch all your favorite games on an 80-foot screen with stadium-style seating and live VSiN broadcast daily. Circa Sports, now open at the Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
My dad and I used to golf together all the time, but when he hurt his back, it was over.
To have your son want to spend time with you is amazing. That's why my chronic back pain has been so heartbreaking. Surgery, fused bones, long recovery. No way, not for me. A friend recommended stem cells, so I gave Kellum Stem Cell Institute a call.
I'm glad you're out on the course.
Yeah, it's really good.
Call the Kellum Stem Cell Institute today. Swing still looks just okay, though.
Let's face it, buying a vehicle should be straightforward and stress-free, and that's exactly how Two Rivers Ford has been doing business for decades. This locally owned dealership has a non-commissioned sales team whose only focus is to find you the right vehicle at the right price without the pressure. So you'll actually have a fun car buying experience. Great prices, easy financing, and a non-commissioned sales team. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. And, of course, we're broadcasting live from the 104.5 The Zone Circa Sports studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circa Sports at Kentucky Downs. And was it just C.J. Stroud that was ruled out?
I believe so.
Well, they had a lot of guys on the injury list.
Yeah, they had a lot of guys on the injury list, so I want to make sure that I was told there was 2 more. Oh, ruled quarterback C.J. Stroud, safety Jalen Petrie, and kicker Kaimi Fairburn have both been ruled out. So
the Petrie was a concussion, too, as well. He's safety there.
Yeah.
And the kicker,
All right, does that change your all's mind about my plus 7.5 bet from yesterday, which is now ever since the show went down to 6.5? So I'm obviously a line mover. But does that?
I think you said that yesterday as well.
Oh, I said it after the show. It went on after the show. I didn't get to. I didn't go back and check until after the show. So just sounds like I'm a little bit of a line mover. The line for the game has also gone down to 5.5 cents. So
what?
I should have gotten that 7.5 when I told you about it yesterday.
A Lions mover.
I mean,
a Lions mover. I see what you did.
Lines.
We never refuted you though. We never said that you were wrong about that. Did we, Blaine?
No. But I still think the Texans gonna win.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean the 7.5. Just saying, people are in the chat saying, "No, I'm taking the Texans big." I wouldn't. And here's the thing about this Davis Mills thing that I want to talk about real quick. I've heard a lot of people will like, isn't Davis Mills 4-2 against the Texans or against the Titans? Yeah, but isn't that against also the Mike Vrabel Titans? Like, that's not against this particular iteration of the Titans. Does that stuff matter as much?
Well, I mean, you're saying that UT can't win in West.
Well, that
yeah, but I mean that's the same analogy there.
Okay. But do you think home field advantage is a little bit different than just one particular player?
Well, Titans don't have any home field advantage. Right?
I'm not saying that the Titans have home field advantage. I'm saying, don't you think the Florida thing is home? It's the mystique of the swamp.
I don't know, but it's a different team. So I just don't know if that really carries weight. And NFL definitely does it. So but maybe a little bit more in college just because of the fan bases and everything else. I just don't. Man, I went back and watched the game because you brought a lot of curiosity because I didn't recall. I throw out everything that the Titans lose. I just forget everything. Like so,
it's not worth the memory.
They were actually in the game 6-0 Texans all the way to the fourth quarter, as you mentioned, and then the dam broke with defense just got exhausted, and then the tip ball to Alec Manor, it hit him in his hand. It was a bad throw, inaccurate. It was behind him, hit both of his paws though. And it tipped, and then the corner there intercepted it. So, and then that kind of changed the whole momentum of the game. Typical of the Titans this year. Right. One bad play, and then everything just kind of it just fell apart there. Defense couldn't make any stops. The Snead gave up the big, gain on 2nd and 25 or whatever it was.
Yeah, because of the Nico Collins thing.
Mm-hmm, yeah, so it just became, oh, man. And then their kicker was making kicks, ours missing. It was, just kind of that. So they were in the game all the way through. Oh, Jeffrey Simmons was dominating.
Yeah, we don't know if he's going to be playing.
That was the fastest sack I ever seen. No, he hasn't practiced.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm
he's
saying.
Not playing. So
you don't even think you just ruling it out? Because I mean, we still got 2 practices left. I guess today, Thursday, and Friday.
Oh, wait, did he practice today?
Well, we haven't got anything yet today.
I'm assuming he's not. I'm making.
I would assume that he's not either.
I have no proof of that, but it doesn't look like it. Other guys. When I'm talking about Key and those guys started revving up this week. Earlier being part-time participants and everything else. So I haven't seen it with him, but man, Mills being the starter doesn't change a lot for me because C.J. Stroud this season hasn't played up to C.J. Stroud's level of what he's done in the past. Their offensive line, as I mentioned, thought would play decent even though they got rid of, Tunsil, and they have, actually. I think they've given up only like maybe 20 sacks. I don't know what their numbers are, but the Titans give up almost double that. So their line has played well when it comes to that. I think Mills is a more structured quarterback. I actually like him as a backup quarterback really on any team. He has much more talent than anybody on the Titans as a backup, and he has a big arm, and he has just enough mobility to be a little bit dangerous. And, is he an elite quarterback? No. But Stroud didn't play anything special in that game, so I felt like he played to the level of Mills in that game.
That's a good point.
That's why I feel like it's going to be a close contest, but I still feel like the Texans' pass rush and their secondary, they are elite. And I just haven't seen this offense just break through and would play with any consistency throughout a season. Thus far this season. And they averaged like 14 points, the Titans.
Some 13 points.
I think the Texans' defense is one of the better defenses too. So I can't see, even with the week off. That's why I said if they get off to a big start and early and get up like 10-0, now it's an even game. I feel like in this game, but the Texans still aren't playing like special on offense. Something's going on there that we don't know. Their young receivers look pretty good, though. So I think it's more so just the quarterback adjusting to the new OC.
Yep.
I just want to say something real quick, too, about the Davis Mills Titans record. First off, he's 2-2. He ain't 4-2.
Oh, someone said, I heard that yesterday.
They have him down as playing in both games in 2023, but he didn't throw a pass in either game.
Oh, gotcha.
End.
He kneeled, yeah.
They lost to us at the very end of 2021. Remember when we played that game to win the division and get the 1 seed? That was actually his best game against us, through 3 touchdowns, no picks, 300 yards. And then he went 1-1 against us in 22. I think he played against Malik Willis both those games, if I'm not mistaken. And then last year, Stroud played the first drive, and Mills came in the rest of the game.
Gotcha.
So we haven't seen him a ton, but he also played 2 games against Malik Willis. So,
by the way, the Texans have won 5 of the last 6 games. So. But Mills is a quality player. I've watched him in other games, even before Stroud was there.
Yeah.
And I thought he was a quality player, nothing exceptional, but, man, just a good, solid quarterback, safe haven for, when your quarterback goes down. So I would feel comfortable as a backup on the Titans.
Yeah. I mean, I think you even mentioned him over the summer. You asked if he was available, and I think they ended up giving him an extension or something because they value the importance that he brings.
Yeah.
And the Titans, for whatever reason, did not value that kind of experience plus talent.
We have not beat them at home since the COVID year. And even that game, we had to beat them in overtime.
Man,
think about that.
It has been a while.
Yeah,
remember when we barely got away with that one, too, because AJ had that last-second catch to send it to overtime on the goal line?
Yeah. The big caveat in this game, though, is we don't know what this staff, after a bye week, what they look like, their teams. So we don't know. I mean, maybe last year, but different head coach.
Because you can go back and look at Mike McCoy in San Diego, and he was 2-2 coming out of the bye. So we still don't know much about anything on that. And obviously, there's no Phillip Rivers here, and some of the talent, it does not live up to San Diego, right? Yeah. Even on the defensive side of the ball. And I do wonder, what do they tweak? What do they lean into? Like, coming out of the bye, do you get a little bit more aggressive? Do you play a little bit less conservative in your decision-making? Because it seems like this team still was playing not to lose games, not a team with nothing to lose. Like, does that change?
The players or the coaches?
The coaches. Like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the coaches.
Oh, I have no idea what they would do.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, what kind of change are we going to see from their end on the coaches? Because I think the players are your players, right? I mean, like, they're going to give it their all every time they're up on the field. They're going to try whatever they can do to execute, play within the game plan. But what does that game plan look like? Is it going to be a little bit more of a carefree, let's just try to, play within ourselves and not play, conservative football? I just don't know.
No, I don't look at it that way. I look at it, they're going to lean into the things that they've had success with.
What is that?
We're not talking about win games.
Yeah.
Plays. There's individual plays every time. Like you say, okay, well, I'm going to lean into these plays because we've had success, or I'm going to lean into these plays because certain players do really good in these plays.
Maybe they figured out a little bit more.
Right. I think situationally, you may emphasize certain things for certain players.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's always going to go back to the quarterback.
Yeah.
So I think he needs to master the fundamentals. Well, and I think all the young guys just to see if. And it can become boring at times because you want to see some spectacular play. But if you can master the fundamentals, that will carry you, and then eventually those big plays will happen. Even Cam Ward. Guess what? We've seen one spectacular play. That one he threw across his body, here in Nissan Stadium. It was like, well, guess what? That's not going to happen every game. And there's some form of luck of that because now people have seen it and go, hey, man, this guy can throw back off the field. If they run a 7 route or the other side and he rolls out the other way, believe me, he can throw that.
Yeah.
I just think they need to continually grow as players, understanding what they can do in the National Football League. There are certain criteria for athletes that they think they can do what they did in college, and that doesn't parlay into the pros. So you must figure that out, what you can do and what you can't do and what you need to work on. And that's not going to happen during the season. That's going to happen in the offseason. That's why I say the only thing you can do is, as a coaching staff and players, is lean into what you had success at and just try to do more of that and then play off of that.
Like if you have success with play action, maybe be able to lean into play action. I'm not saying that this team should, but
I don't even know their numbers. But how much are they in shotgun and how much they're under center?
Oh, they're in shotgun like 80-something% of the time.
And that's absolutely horrible.
Yeah,
that should not be a stat.
I'll have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure.
And I'm talking about, does that mean that they pass 85% of the 87?
No. But, I mean, what's interesting, though, which is kind of wild, listen, I was saving this stat for tomorrow, but here's a wild stat for you, is that Cam Ward is light years more effective out of shotgun play action than he is under center play action.
So
it's insane.
Well, then they should lean into that more.
Exactly. And
that's what I'm talking about, yeah.
Yeah, so, but I mean, that still is an insane thing.
Whether you like that as a coach or not, it's telling you this is what you should be doing.
Right. I think, and Ross has brought this up, the footwork from under center, he's just not there yet. It just doesn't feel like he's very comfortable under center, and I think that's why this team leans a little bit heavier on shotgun. But I will say this, that is a staple of a Joe Burrow, Bengals, kind of Peyton Manning offense, is that they all love shotgun. And it seems like, obviously it benefits Cam Ward specifically in play action. It's almost like 200% difference. Like it's an insane amount.
It's like what we've said, right? It's fine if you're pro shotgun. There's no issue with that, but there are inevitably going to be situations in each game where you have to operate from under center, and you have to be able to do that effectively.
But to your point, got to lean into what you're good at. That may be something they lean into where they're only averaging first off play action 6 attempts per game. That number probably needs to come up, but it's almost an even split between under center and shotgun, and as far as attempts per game with 3. But play action, it works more on from shotgun for Cam Ward. That would not be a universal truth across the NFL, but for Cam Ward,
hey, that's what I was just about to say.
it's not a universal truth.
I'm going to double talk here, and you lean into that. But is that effective in the National Football League? Right. Does that carry you to playoff contending type teams?
No, but and that's something to me. Everybody talks about his footwork and this and that. I think under center needs to be a big focus for him in the offseason.
Yeah, no doubt.
Is that because even when he is coming out to just hand the ball off, not just in play action situations, but when he's coming out just to hand the ball off, it does not look right. For whatever reason. Ross brought it up to my attention. It's one of those things where someone tells you about something and then you can't unsee it.
Yeah. No,
that's what that is. Like, I mean, it just is.
But I mean, then we should have. How much was he under center in college?
I don't think a lot.
Right,
I could probably find that
so that's
during the break.
why he's not comfortable there because he didn't do it very much. And that style over history of this league, even now, still today with changing and more college, offenses in league, under center. You have to be under center at some points in time of the game. It's impossible.
Well, most of the successful offenses in the NFL, most of those successful offenses are also your playoff teams. Right. They do a lot out of 12 personnel. They do a lot out of under center right now. The trend is going back to under center.
And when I look at balance, I think of the Rams.
Right.
In Stafford. He, is a great thrower, but he is under center at times and can pass under center, let alone in the shotgun. And that helps him in the run game because every team needs run game to be successful. So, man, if that's a glaring stat there, wow, that's a one as a defender. When I study film, I would lean into that all day long. I would know their plays.
All these great quarterbacks, great teams, they got that healthy mix, right? Like, I think of when Brady went to the Bucs, they had think that for a while they had Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, AB, and Gronk on this field at the same time. You could have easily gone spread the whole game, but they still went under center because they knew that you had to, and they had one of the best offenses in the league.
They did.
Yep. You you can't just rely on shotgun. You can, technically your rookie year, if that's what he's most comfortable in. But if you're looking for long-term sustained success like they are, he's gonna have to really work on his under center fundamentals. Because I think he could pass from under center. I think he can do everything. He just has to get used to it. It's not something he's very much used to. That's one of the most talked about things from transitioning from college. Yeah,
no doubt.
So it's not just a him thing.
Yeah, no doubt.
You very rarely do you see a lot of under center
I don't
football.
even think
because that's the style of college football.
Right. Exactly. So you got to really hammer that part home the most when you get a rookie quarterback. And because I bet if I went and looked, I'm going to look at Jaden Daniels too, see what he did last year. Of course, this year they've kind of tailed off the injuries and everything, but I do want to see how much he played under center last year compared to maybe some of these other people. All right, coming up next, we'll continue talking Tennessee Titans, talk about maybe a few free agents that I would not be interested in if I were the Tennessee Titans. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Yeah.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. I have a little bit of a controversial take.
What?
It's going to be pretty controversial, I think, for Titans fans to wrap their mind around.
Can you give me a frat flick while you do it?
Can I do, what?
Give me a frat flick while you do it.
What is a frat? This? I don't know what that is. I've never seen a frat flick.
Okay, you're too old.
I am. We just drank beer. I don't know what you guys did in fraternities, but we just drank beer. But have you ever heard of a frat flick?
Well, I don't know. I never pledged. I was so worried about that I would be up too late and I couldn't focus on academics and ball.
Well, to be fair, that was the right way to think about it.
I had guys who would flunk off the team because they're pledging. I'm like, I cannot afford to be. I can't do that.
I will say that it does tend to delay your graduation.
But I did tell all the frats that, hey, man, just put me on the flyer there at Ball State. And, hey, man, the ladies will show up. Because I'll be there too.
So
I'm just saying I went, man, because I wanted to just make sure I can get in the party for free. That's all.
So Jeremy Fowler and Matt Barrow put out this ESPN Top 25 list. We started talking about it yesterday, and then we got into the discussion of Jarvis Brownlee Jr. and all that kind of stuff. And obviously, I think we cross off George Pickens off the NFL Tennessee Titans wish list. Sorry, not NFL, Tennessee Titans wish list.
The list that you are.
But
Fowler.
The next few guys on this list are Alec Pierce, Romeo Doubs of Green Bay, Alec Pierce of Indianapolis, and Jacoby Myers got an honorable mention. Those are your free agent wide receivers. So here's my take. Because I've seen a lot of fans, a lot of analysts talk about wanting Alec Pierce and for the Tennessee Titans to throw some money at him because they got some money at him and get Alec Pierce here, and I don't think they should. I think Alec Pierce is in a great situation where he's at with Indianapolis. Shane Steichen is a guy that provides him opportunities and alleyways to get open with the way that he schemes against defenses. But I think that you have a guy in Chimere Dike. I know he's not there yet, but I don't see a reason to spend upwards of $20 million or $20+ million per year on a guy, Alec Pierce, who will be just getting his first 1,000-yard season if everything goes according to plan. And a guy who is kind of, at least in the offense that he is in right now, a one-trick pony, not a good contested catcher. He's your deep threat, and that's it. And I think that Chimere Dike could be your effective deep threat. I just don't think you should spend the money on that at wide receiver. I think you should probably focus on wide receiver in the draft. And I know that's like you're turning down a proven thing, but he's only proven in this style of offense where there's a consistent deep threat for him to be. I haven't really seen him attack the intermediate, the short range, and have consistent success. And I just think that, like, okay, he went to the Buffalo Bills. That'd be money well worth spent by the Buffalo Bills. Here at Tennessee, probably not the guy that I would be targeting. And I know that I may be in the minority in this. It just doesn't feel like $20 million per year feels like a lot of money per year for a guy whose ceiling is capped at wide receiver 2, but his floor could be even lower.
I mean, with that being, so what are you doing with Ridley? Are you cutting him?
I mean, I'm entertaining the idea of keeping Ridley at this point because this wide receiver free agency pool is not good anyway, and you still have him under contract. And I know it's expensive, but you got them. He's already factored into your large cap space as it sits. So I don't know. I would maybe keep Ridley for maybe one more year or do a little restructure, funny money of some sort. But at this point, I mean, I'm just looking for the draft at this point because this is a rebuild. I just don't think you're going to find your solution. I don't think you're going to find your true wide receiver 1 in free agency. I think you can find your true wide receiver 1 in the draft. But, I mean, again, draft's a crapshoot. I understand that.
No, I like your premise of your thought process there. I think Pierce is a good player. I just don't buy into the Titans. Got to get 2 first-round picks after trading this pick, whatever pick it is, and then that way they can get their pass rusher and an elite playmaker.
Yeah,
and then I'm for cutting Ridley, and then that's how you develop and let all 3 of these young, now an elite, at least talent-wise, guy that you get in the first round.
Right.
Talent doesn't mean he's a better player yet, and then let them all kind of grow with Kim together with Gunnar Helm. I think that's kind of the route I would lean into. Instead of signing a guy with Pierce who's kind of being just steady and good, but he's the best as a 2 on most teams. On this team he probably would be a 1, but nah.
But I don't think he would be a 1 by NFL standards, right?
No. and then putting the $20 million in, you just kind of different style of player than Ridley, but I just don't like the inconsistency of Ridley. 2 years, 2 different quarterbacks, still up and down. Now he's injured. I feel like he's kind of a basket case. I'm ready to move.
Yeah, and I'm all for moving on from Ridley too.
By the way, and I just, some guys just can't put it all together for whatever reason.
Yeah,
and it's been consistent through his career. So now we get to see it live. There's a reason why they didn't sign him back there with the Jaguars. But he put up 3 TDs versus the Titans.
Yeah, and listen, with Ridley, I could go either way. I could see the rationale for it. But even if you keep Ridley and re-sign him, which I'm not saying that's, I don't know where I'm going to learn. Or, sorry, not re-sign him. If you keep Ridley and not cut him is what I meant to say, and not cut him, you still need a wide receiver.
Yeah.
No matter if Ridley's here or not, and not a wide receiver in the 4th or 5th round, you need a wide receiver in the 1st round. Hopefully, 2nd round at worst. You can't go into. You got to start getting younger at these premium positions and start using premium picks on premium positions.
Right, no doubt. So that's what I said. But I'm thinking they're going to trade the pick who they have.
Hopefully.
They have 2 first-round picks, and then they can double down and take 2 defensive ends or a defensive end and a wide receiver. I still think you need a high-level playmaker who is just ultra-talented. So, I'm leaning way into that 80, 90% of the way. Yeah, that is. We're not even knowing who's coming out outside of the Ohio State game.
And this list is very early. I mean, we're talking about top 25 free agents in November, but they put out the list. But what I thought was it's a good gauge to kind of feel like where the market's going to go. Who do you think is going to get signed? There are some edge players. We talked about Trey Hendrickson, who we'd stay, or at least I would stay away from. Yeah. But you also have some good cornerbacks. You have some guys like Jalen Watson, Rick Woolen, Greg Newsome, and Alontae Taylor, who are all pretty good man cover corners. We don't know what this defense is, so it's really hard to tell what this defense will be. But 4 good corners who have all hit an impasse with contract negotiations with their team. So I'm like, okay, maybe there is a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel for us to find some starting level cornerbacks next year.
But we don't know then. They may get franchise tag.
They may. And then there's a couple of good lower edge. Like
I really like Alontae Taylor of that list.
I do too.
He's a dog too, by the way, and he plays outside, and he's from Tennessee.
Yep.
So I really, let alone he went to Tennessee. So, but he is a heck of a player. Sometimes a little overly aggressive, but man, he is boy.
And really cornerbacks typically of these caliber and these levels usually get paid around $18 million or $20 million a year. Yeah. I would rather spend money there than on Alec Pierce.
Well, they got extra money now. They got all kind of money now, man.
Right.
Remember that. So
I mean, if you needed to remake, and they're all young, right? I mean, 27. All those guys I named are going to be at oldest 26. So they're all still relatively young, too. So you could maybe almost revamp your cornerback room pretty quick if they hit the market. And that's the problem with this list is like you look at the edge group outside of Trey Hendrickson, you got Jalen Phillips, who just got traded to the Eagles. They may or may not keep him. But if he
didn't he get the sack at the end of the game?
He did.
With the game? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't end up re-signing, well, $20 million a year maybe for Jalen Phillips sounds pretty good because that's what Josh Sweat got last year. He got $19.1 million. It's kind of a similar situation where, except for Jalen Phillips was a first-round pick, if I'm not mistaken, but injury history kind of edge rushers. Boy Mafe from up in Seattle, Kwity Paye, Odafe Owe. I mean, a couple of different guys that could provide you a little bit of pass rush. They're not elite guys, but you're not going to find the elite guys in free agency.
Yeah. Paye, I mean, he's, solid.
Yeah.
But that's what you're getting in free agency. You don't have to pay whole bunch of bucks. But if you match him up with being an elite pass rusher from
the draft,
college, yeah, exactly. Now all of a sudden we're right back in the mix.
Yeah, Kwity Paye, let's say Ruben Bain for Miami, and then maybe Femi is your third guy. If Femi's your third guy, you're sitting pretty
matched up with Sebastian, Simmons, Sweat.
Yep.
I mean, now all of a sudden you're front, 4 or 5 guys looking even deeper at 6, and you go, man, this is a solid young group with a veteran leading the way in Simmons. Woo.
And this, again, is the top 25 list from ESPN that we're talking about. There was an interesting name on there, again, that I want to bring up, though. I would be interested in signing Breece Hall, the running back from the Jets, if he hits free agency.
Yes.
And I think that this team could use a guy like Breece Hall. Breece Hall will be turning 25 at the beginning of the year, or the beginning of the next season. And if you got him for $12 million a year, which is what James Cook got last year, I would be pretty interested if you could get him. I mean, I know spending money on a running back seems counterintuitive, but Breece Hall is a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield as well. He's a proven runner in this league. I would be pretty interested in spending some money on running back to maybe avoid drafting one in the first 3 rounds, because I kind of feel like that's where they're going to end up doing, just the feeling I got for right now.
Well, I don't know what the running back situation looks like in college. I don't know. Have you done any research yet?
Just Jeremiah Love. That's about it. I mean, that's the only guy I've really watched and paid attention to. There's a Kansas State kid that has intrigued me a little bit, and I can't remember his name. But
Hall is a really good player. Let's get that away. I don't know how has he come back. I know he tore his ACL 2 years ago. Has he played well and had any issues with that? I think that was him. But he's solid. He's a good all-around back in all facets. Strong runner, catcher, all of that, blocking. So I want to know the draft. I just really don't want to spend money there unless that's the situation. I don't want to draft a running back.
Yeah.
I think that would make me lean into that a little bit more.
Because that's what you got to do. I mean, they're building up the free agency board. He'd be 25 at the start of the season. So
that's solid. So you're going to get a good, 4 years out of him.
Yeah.
I know y'all got off of receivers, but just going back to that real quick, I do want to keep Ridley from the aspect of, one, he's just a vet. I think we kind of need one in the room that's had some good experience over the years, but also I think he gives you something you don't have if you let him go in his route running ability. I'm not sold yet on either of our rookies' route running ability, and I think you just kind of need that different type of receiver. And also, the 3 you mentioned, the one that would intrigue me the most is Romeo Doubs, but I don't see the Packers, I see the Packers finishing a deal with him because they like to keep their drafted guys. Also, Christian Watson, other guys are injured a lot, and Doubs is kind of that constant there.
Yeah.
But I think he would fit this offense better than an Alec Pierce would.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I'm glad you brought all this up because first and foremost, before you're signing any of these players, and this is where administrations go wrong with players, whatever offense and defensive style you're playing, they must match up with their style of play.
Right.
So when I'm getting good examples is if you are playing man-to-man a lot of the time, don't sign a zone corner.
With you.
Because he doesn't fit what you want to do.
Right.
I mean, so vice versa. So if you're going to throw the ball a lot, why are you signing an elite running back if you're not going to throw and give him the ball?
Right.
See, so we got to see who the head coach is, what style of offense and defense that they run, and make sure these players fit. That's how you really get there quickly.
Yeah.
That it matches up. Some GMs don't care. They say, this guy's the number one guy. You make them fit. Well, now you ask them to do something that they're not good at.
And something that's kind of proven not to work.
Yeah. And that's why I can't pay Ridley that kind of money just because I need a veteran in the room. Guess what? He was in this room this year. Those guys all were drafted because they were smart guys. They know what they need to work on.
Yeah.
They're going to work on it. Coming into the second year, they're going to be better. And guess what? Ridley will keep fading out of the picture for me because this is a young team, and outside of that, he's an older guy who is inconsistent.
Yep.
So guess what he also was doing? Teaching them how to be inconsistent. Or are they taking notes saying, this is what I learned from him, but I'm not doing. Right. Right. See, so like at this point in time, Ridley should be dominating.
Yeah.
Based off the pay he's making. Now, if he wants to come back at a reduced rate, now we're talking.
Have him take a pay cut.
Yeah, but I don't think he will. And see, after this, I don't even know if he's going to play in this game. Everybody said he's going to play. A guy like that, when a hammy is messed up, I would say he's going to be coming in and out of the lineup during the game. You got to just bank on it. Bank on it. Or him not finishing the game.
Yeah.
See, so 1 year, stagnant, up and down. Next year, stagnant, up and down, and injured. Dude, this was not the NFL works on. This was not a good sign.
Yeah,
and I love Ridley. I think he could be elite, but I don't see it. And I haven't seen it yet in a game.
And we haven't seen it consistently.
Spot play, $90 million? Nah, we can't have that.
All right, coming up next, we'll talk more about the Tennessee Titans. We'll also go to Ryan in Hendersonville. And if we got time, I may tell you I have another hot take. And this one's about Amy Adams-Strunk. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. Let's go to the phones because last call for phone calls. Let's go to Ryan in Hendersonville. Ryan, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
First, are you friends with Chad?
Yeah. Do you know Chad from Hendersonville?
I do not, but I am a Ball State Cardinal like Blaine.
Oh, chirp, chirp.
But, hey, I think Zach hit on the head. Don't spend any big money on free agency at wide receiver. Yeah. I think Borgonzi's done a good job looking at and evaluating talent with Chimray and Ellick this year hitting on those late-round picks. So maybe go in that market again. But, Zach, ex-Alabama guy, now Buckeye, would you be interested in the Titans looking at Caleb Downs this year?
I would be. I mean, listen, I think you bring up something that will be talked about a lot, but you talk about the best player in the NFL draft or the best talent in the NFL draft and player. I would probably put Caleb Downs up there. Now, you're spending a high pick on a safety, but he's almost. I don't know if you watched the game over the weekend. I forgot who they played over the weekend, but there was
Ohio State.
Yeah. But there was a play from Caleb Downs that was just incredible. He came from like the deep middle all the way down to make an interception. It was wild. But, I mean, I talked about him last week, and I talked about what kind of vein I was using with the players I was comparing him to. He's an elite talent. I mean, but the Titans where they're at now, they can't. They just can't afford to do a safety. And listen, they should be stacking good players. But, I mean, like, just in drafts, all these good players, but they just really can't afford to draft a safety, at this point.
I just remember that
well, they got Hooker and Winston Jr., to be honest, to think about that and where that can go.
Yeah.
I just don't know if Caleb Downs kind of fits in the picture.
Caleb Downs and Winston in that backfield, though, would be fun.
So you just disowning Hooker's guard after they gave him an extension.
See Hooker. I'm just saying, but, I mean, that would be
if
fun.
they did give him an extension,
we'd be talking about it.
I don't
know.
It
sure would be fun, is all I'm saying.
I was just going to say, I remember that first game this year when they played Texas. Matt Patricia had Caleb Downs just playing that robber like the whole game in the middle of the field, and Arch was not trying to go over the middle of the field like that.
Yeah, he's a special dude now.
That's why I was asking you, and I know your answer was no, which I agree with, but could Caleb Downs, if you have the number one pick, could Caleb Downs be a player?
This is why you guys aren't the drafters, because see, you're falling in love with a player, but you don't need him. You don't need him.
I don't want Caleb Downs.
He does.
No.
I think he's the best player in the draft, but I don't think you can afford to take him.
Oh, absolutely he is. But the quarterbacks are always going to be high, and the pass rushers are
right. Pass rushers, safety's not a premium position.
It's just not.
So I just said last segment he has been on premium positions. Now he's a premium player, but he's not playing a premium position. And it sucks.
Unfortunately, if we were a middle-of-the-road type team and then we have a top 5 pick, I'd probably go for it.
Yeah.
Well, he plays about 3 positions.
Yeah, he's pretty close to it. Yeah. All right, here's my hot take for Amy Adams Strunk if you guys are ready.
Wait, before you say that, just remember.
I have high expectations, and I'll never apologize for that.
All right, don't mess up.
Hey, listen. And you know what? We talk about can Amy Adams Strunk be involved in a good head coaching hire and head coaching hires and all this stuff and all. I would say yes.
But she's been in them.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's my hot take is that I think Amy Adams Strunk is actually someone that actually hires good head coaches more often than not and good coaches in general because I'm going to include Matt LaFleur in that. But if you go look, here's my thing. I don't know. How would you determine who's a bad owner and a good owner? I don't know. Whether you do win-loss percentage or the NFLPA grades that have pissed off apparently the NFL so much that they're trying to get those banned, those NFLPA report cards.
I don't know. I saw that.
I think bad owners or presidents or whatever you want to do it can hire good coaches. I think good GM or good team presidents or owners can hire bad coaches.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, I went through and I looked at all the current people. You know me, I like my data. And I came to two conclusions here. The first conclusion is Clark Hunt really got lucky that Andy Reid got fired. Okay, can we just say that for a second? Because Clark Hunt, the last 2 picks that he's had
head coaches
before.
Let me see if I can guess it right.
Okay.
I may be wrong. Herm Edwards and Marty Schottenheimer. No, I'm wrong.
No.
I went probably too far.
Give me,
who were the guys they hired?
Oh, he hired, Herm Edwards was one of them.
Ding, 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 ding.
But he hired 3 people. Herm Edwards, Romeo Crennel, and Todd Haley. He was 0 for 3 before Andy Reid got fired, and he got Andy Reid. Okay, that sometimes the NFL involves a little bit of luck, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because that was really lucky that Andy Reid.
Looking at resumes.
Yeah.
And, you just don't know.
But did you, and here's the other thing, is that she is tied for the 8th best hire rate in the NFL as far as head coaches are concerned. Now, what that means is that she is hired, at least out of the 3 head coaches that she has hired, only one of them has been bad, so 33.3%. That would be tied with Robert Kraft. Ziggy Wilf is better. Jerry Jones is better, considering, all the chaos that surrounds Dallas. He's only had one bad head coaching hire, and that was Campo back in the day.
Oh, wow.
And I'm doing 500, got to be over 500 to be considered a good head coach hire.
How far back are you going?
I'm going all the way back to when they became owners.
Oh.
Jody Allen with Seattle, and Sheila Ford Hamp, Josh Harris, and Steve Bisciotti have only made one hire. And they've hit on those hires so far. We'll see how Josh Harris and Dan Quinn ends up this year. That may affect that a little bit. But she has done pretty well.
Where are the Steelers at in this?
Well, I didn't include the Steelers because Art Rooney II, I guess I could include the whole Rooney family, but obviously Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin eat up a good large chunk of that.
Right.
And so and I didn't include technically the Packers because the Packers incorporated the ownership group and all that stuff. And I guess I could do 10 presidents for that. But so I left those 2 out.
Oh,
but
I asked about those.
Yeah, but I look at this. You want to talk about, maybe some causation. Gail Benson of New Orleans, her only head coaching hire so far, we don't know what Kellen Moore is going to be, but was Dennis Allen. That was a failure. Shad Khan has hired 5 head coaches. We don't know what Liam Cohen's going to be, but he's hired 5 head coaches, and all 5 have been below 500 when they part ways with Jacksonville. John Mara of the New York Giants, who everybody says well-respected, great owner, he's made 4 hires. All 4 have failed. Jimmy Haslam, 5 hires, all 5 have failed. Michael Bidwell of the Arizona, Jonathan Gannon is starting to look like a failure. That's his 1 hire. So I'm just saying, Amy Armstrong has, Jeff Lurie, she has a better hire rate. Now, this is important hire coming up. We'll see how that works, but it's just not as simple as blame the owner for the bad hires. When you start looking at guys like Jed York, Denver's Greg Penner, Arthur Blank, the Ursays, the McCoskies, it's not just about the ownership. And that's my whole point, is I think Amy Armstrong gets way too much blame for the mess that they're in.
Ooh.
That's my hot take.
Well, it's just recency, just
yeah,
all the assistants firing. But yeah, that's what I said. She keeps swinging at the bat.
Yep.
Eventually, you're going to hit a home run.
Going to hit a home run. I mean, some people would say that she hit a home run with Mike Vrabel, Oh. But, I'm just saying, at the end of the day, I think that she gets a little too much disservice. We'll talk more about that on Football and Other F Words. And tomorrow, we're going to talk about that Texans-Titans games that everybody's excited about. And I hope you got your plus 7.5. And we'll also have the Lions Den Best Bets who's on life alert right now. I got my life alert alarm. I may have fallen and can't get up. I don't know.
Oh, gosh. It's on a ventilator.
All right, that will do it for us. 3HL's up next. Has been covered 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. And in the meantime.
And in between time.
Peace.